YouTube, people of the internet, what is going on? Welcome to the 17 UTC cast today. Well, I don't have that many matches to pick out of, right? Oh boy, I forgot the coffee at the machine. Chat, hold on 1 second. I am a terrible content creator. Go watch Chiskel, I guess. Let me go get the coffee real quick, or else I'll fall asleep mid-cast, I think. Wait. It's like a thing. I'm telling you, it's like a thing in this channel. It's a thing in this channel where I forget the coffee and I go get the coffee mid-cast, well, in the beginning of it. What is going on, everybody? It's a thing. It's just a thing we do here. And we forget. We just forget it. What we need to do is we need to, first of all, raise the volume so we get some in-game juiciness in the match. Listen. This is a big boy match. This is not only Ark of Osiris. This is not only strategy. This is not only Baba, one of the biggest players in the game. It is legend Rhony against his protege, Dragothien. That is right. The master and the protege who is turned to a master of his own. Man, I am stoked. What am I listening to? What is playing in the background? I guess it's the music of the game. All right. Well, this match is going to be insane. It's the one fight we've all been waiting for. It's not KVK. It is Osiris League. We'll take it. This is for the marbles. Remind you, both these teams are looking to try to make it out of the playoffs into the top 16. However, only 2 of the group will get out. And both these teams are looking to take that first W, which is the first step towards the right direction. Here is the deal. The prodigy versus the legend. My goodness, this is going to be awesome. There are a couple of things that I need to point out already before we start. The first one being, don't pay attention too much to power differences. The power differences between these two alliances is strictly 2 players, Baba and Javi, I believe, if Javi is in this lineup. Regardless, if you take Baba out, and, well, don't take Baba out, but put him at a reasonable level of power, which is 400 million power down, really. At 100 mil, you're already way more than you need to be inside Ark of Osiris. You're down to about 3.2 versus 3.04. So it's going to be interesting to see. Got to get rid of this cough drop, or else I'll be eating it through the cast, and that's not a good idea. And yeah, we're all ready to go. We're waiting up 2 last minutes until this crazy match begins. I hope it's as crazy as the one we previously watched. If you're watching this VOD and you're not watching it live, there was another cast I casted earlier today with MFLD against DSP. If you folks haven't seen that match yet, oh, my heart. That match was insane. I definitely recommend you guys check it out. And of course, if you're watching the stream, make sure you drop a like on the stream before we start. It helps out the channel, lets me know that you guys are enjoying the content. And of course, I don't pay too much attention to comments early on in the match. I focus more on the match. But I promise you guys, if there's time, I'll read, I'll talk to you guys and communicate. Just don't get offended if I just don't pay attention too much to chat. Finally, let me know in the comments right now in the chat before we start, who do you think is going to take it? Hashtag P245 or hashtag 1AVG? My personal thing is 1AVG. 1AVG. Thank you, Penigma. Finally, something good out of you. All I hear from you all the time is more and more criticism, which is okay. I like the criticism. It improves. It helps me. But I appreciate it. And we're working on it. We're working on it, man. We keep improving. We keep doing our thing. We are adding new elements to the match. On today's match, you'll see me changing these things on the screen. But in the next match, one of you guys suggested for me to make it an automatic thing, which is a great idea. I just didn't have time to do it. Trust me when I tell you, next week's casts are going to be completely different from anything you've seen people do before, with stuff on the screen and Trust me when I tell you, you do not want to miss out on the cast. I see a lot of P245s. I see a lot of 1AVGs. Man, you guys are really, really split in here, huh? Lol. Come on, Ego. Why you have to do this? Why you have to do this, man? Let's go watch. The match is on 26 against 27 so far, but people are going into the match. Chat, we always start like this. Bear with me, as some of the people in this chat don't know what Ark of Osiris is. So we always start the cast with a little bit of an explanation of what Ark of Osiris is. Huh. This is not Ark of Osiris, okay? You guys can definitely ignore that. All right. Welcome to Ark of Osiris. Ark of Osiris is the game mode inside Rise of Kingdoms that is 1 hour long. It is played on a custom map, which is what you're seeing right here. It is a mirrored map. Oh, that was the ugliest straight line I've ever drawn. Let's try that one more time. A little bit better. It's a mirrored map where two teams, blue and red, compete for gaining as many points as possible within 1 hour's time. The team that gains the most points wins the match. It's not about kills. It's not about, well, it is a little bit about gathering, but it's not about the usual Rise of Kingdom stuff. It's more specific for this game mode, points. The way you gain points is through 3 different ways. The first one is by occupying these awesome buildings, each of them giving their own amount of points per minute. The other way you can gain points is through a beautiful thing called the Ark of Osiris. The Ark of Osiris spawns in the center of the map in 13 minutes. You can see it up here. And every single arc has a different value of points that it gives throughout the match, as long as you successfully recover it and send it back into one of the buildings that you are occupying. Usually the way this match works is in the first 2 minutes-ish, give or take. 2 minutes-ish, give or take. Folks work more towards the first buildings, the obelisks and outposts, as the Shrine of War, Shrine of Life, and altars are not available for occupation until the 52nd minute. Once the 52nd minute arrives, 8 minutes into the match, all hell breaks loose. All the map is available. Everybody can start gaining points. And from there, we will keep going when we get there. The gates of hell are lowering down. Let's go take a peek at both teams, what they're doing and how they're doing. As it's a 30 versus 30, as we expected, Mad Phantom shooting out of the gate, straight out. Shout out to Mad Phantom and company. We have Dragothien on the scene right here, Caps, and many, many more of our friends and people that we know from the community. But the same exact thing can be said about the P245 side, as we have Super Ronin in here, Rhony himself, Fleesh at the lead in here, one of our supporters in this channel, one of our members in here. Well, he's not a member on the channel, but one of our viewers that's usually always here in the chat. We have Baba in here, Javi as well. As I mentioned, with Baba and Javi having about 800 million power combined, once you take that off the power, it's not necessary. It's much more even than it seems. There are so many more other names that we know in here and love, and honestly, this is going to be an awesome match. The game is lagging a little bit. I don't see... There it is. There he is. Cuba as well. He is one of the veterans of the Kingdom 16 and P245. Early on in the match, it is very custom to see 4 rallies from each side. Rallies are used for 2 different things. Either to grab your own side's obelisks, or to send rallies forward to your opposition's obelisk. Now, at this season so far, nobody's tried to take an obelisk away from the enemy team yet. However, the way these marches are being used is to move troops on the field as a unit, and usually those troops either break up for defending buildings, or they break up a bit forward and they are used for offensive purposes to try to take the enemy's buildings. So far, we can see a fairly even spread, as the red team picked up 2 obelisks and 2 outposts and an obelisk, while the blue team picked up all of their initial buildings. Very, very good job early on by the blue team. This will give them a slight advantage early on. Each one of these buildings ticks every single minute for more points. That's how this works. So you're trying to get the buildings for as quickly as possible and hold them for as long as you can period. And so we're going to have to see how this ends up working out. So far, the fact that one outpost is still missing for the red team will mean that because the blue team picked up all of theirs, they'll have a little bit, very little slight advantage early on, as they'll lock in these buildings first and gain those points per minute quicker. With all that being said, let's go take a look really quickly at what is going on the map. But I do have to do one thing. K9 squad, hide user from channel. You'll never be seen in here again. Goodbye, my friend. Some people in the chat don't understand. There's people who haven't seen a match before. This might be their first cast ever. But anyway, because you really want to see people marching on the field, right? 53rd minute and 50 seconds, meaning there's a minute and 50 seconds remaining for these buildings to be unlocked. And yet, as you can see, the rallies are marching forward. Glocker marching with his, what looks like a tier 5 rally, means that it most likely will break. Let's see where P245 decide to break this rally, either on a defensive side through the Shrine of War, or are they going to push forward to try to take their enemy's desert altar? Remember what I told you in the beginning of the match. The map is a mirrored map. These buildings supposed to be red buildings. These buildings are supposed to be blue buildings. Which means when I say take your opposition's building, I mean that you're crossing that imaginary line into the other side, and now you're trying to take a building that doesn't belong to you. If you take every single building that is on your side, you'll essentially split the amount of points available per minute in this match, and that is 590 points per minute. As you can see, buildings are starting to lock in favor of both teams. So far, red team locking in a little bit early, so that'll give him a slight advantage, 60 points per minute right now. If you don't know what you're looking at on the screen, up on the top you can see the total points, how much time is remaining, how many points per minute each team has, although this is not really clear, and each team, how many buildings they have, how many arcs they've carried, how many players there are, and of course, how many teleports are available. P245 aggressing very early on towards a desert altar that's supposed to be a red desert altar. Red team, though, have some presence in here, and there's still 17 seconds. The building isn't rendering, which is something we're used to by now, but it looks like blue team are trying to really get in the building first. When the match is at its beginning, you really want to get in first. When you get in first, that will give your team a huge advantage to be able to hold onto the building, which is why Glocker is so close, and Glocker might have even been able to pick it up. No, 1AVG picks it up just at the last second, and now the rest of these marches can come into the building, and these open field marches are going to have a really tough time. There was a march here with a richer defense, so they are prepared to hold on to this building. Blue team starting strong on the top side though. P245 taking a sky altar that's supposed to be red away from 1AVG, and 1AVG doing the same exact thing to P245. P245 are sleeping. They lost their Shrine of War as well. All of the blue side for, all the bottom side for blue team really fell asleep on the gut. And look at that. What is going on? How did this happen? Well, regardless, it is what it is. Red team right now holding a big boy amount of buildings, but this is not over yet. They need to wait a whole 3 minutes until these buildings lock into their favor, and only when that happens, they'll start gaining points. So far, blue team ahead by 30 points and leading by almost 100 points. This is because, as I mentioned to you guys, they've picked up their initial buildings earlier. However, a lot is blinking. Everything is blinking right now. Baba swarming the life out of this building. The Sky Altar will most likely not hold. But this is a huge victory for 1AVG. The reason it's a huge victory is because it delays the amount of time the blue team will have holding onto this building. As you saw, it took a good 30-40 seconds longer for P245 to pick up the Sky Altar, which will have ramifications long term. It's not the biggest of deals, but they definitely want to stop that happening right now. 1AVG replying right back, but so far, P245 have taken almost 2 minutes away from 1AVG. When it comes to the altars, that is a whopping 150 points times 2, because altars are worth 150 points. So by delaying by 2 minutes, this Sky Altar right here, P245 guaranteed that the folks in red did not gain 300 points, and it's still going. They're finally taking their building back. It looks like 1AVG were trying to sneak into this desert altar by P245, and now finally the map stabilizes. crisis averted. We've yet to see when the timers finish ticking and see who ended up a little bit ahead in this confrontation. This is a good beginning. It usually works out this way, but you know, maybe it's a little less crazy. But hey, as long as you get it done and you pick up your first occupations, that's the most important part. Legend Rhony with a rally onto the desert altar, trying to take away the first occupation bonuses from 1AVG, but he will not. Whoa. Okay, that scared the life out of him. In 9 seconds, the building locks in favor of 1AVG, and when that happens, they will gain, as you'll see up on the top, 750 points as a reward for being the first alliance to occupy the building. This is how it's going to happen to all the buildings. Each building has its own unique values, and overall, it looks like the folks of 1AVG came out a little bit ahead of it, as they have about 160 points per minute more than P245 early on. 48 minutes remaining in the match, ladies and gentlemen. This is nowhere near close to be over, and these little differences might not have that big of an effect, but every single delta matters. When you're playing Ark of Osiris, what you're trying to do is you're trying to make less mistakes than your opposition is, and trying to bait mistakes out of them. An example being an open field madness happening right next to a desert altar, which doesn't really serve the purpose of the desert altar. There's a rally hitting this building quite a lot, and instead of these marches helping take out the building, they're fighting an open field presence that is really not as significant. Remember, most important thing is keep your eye on the ball. You have to make sure you're fulfilling the task you came in here for. The task at hand right now is to take the desert altar away from 1AVG. By fighting in the open field, you are not helping the cause, even though in theory you are clearing the open field from marches. But as you can see, there are plenty of them waiting to reinforce the building, and the open field fights are really not helping this rally, which is most likely going to hold. So all of these open field marches, instead of helping the rally take out the building, wasted too much time on the open field, and it cost the rally pretty much everything. I did forget one thing. Thank you to D for pointing it out. I mentioned there are 3 ways to get points in the game. Told you guys about Arc, told you guys about points per minute. But what I didn't talk to you guys about is about these things right here, caravans or provisions. They're just like gathering tiles, same exact thing. For every one you pick up, you get a point right up there, and 3 individual points. Easy peasy. You want to be able to not only gather, not only hold buildings, not only get arcs, but find a good balance between all of them. So right now, it looks like the open field swarm, there was such a big swarm that it's still here and it's still pounding hard. Mofu trying his best to do anything in here, and you can see this building is going down slowly and steadily. But this is just one of many times this building should be exchanging hands again and again. With all this going on, 1AVG are aggressing on the Sky Altar. Let's go take a peek at the Sky Altar, see what is going on up there. Massive open field presence once more. Red team really stepping it up in here. Javi and Baba trying to hold on to the Sky Altar. The open field marches are focused more on open field than taking the building once more. And while that is happening, P245 are going for the Shrine of War in the swarm with the rally. This building is crucial. This building is one of the most important buildings on the map. If one team picks up both buildings, they have a 10% attack and defense buff compared to the other side, which has nothing. So defending your Shrine of War has to be a huge priority, and it looks like P245 recognized the weakness there and are about to take this building out, and when they do that, they will have a lot more power. With all this being said, Desert Altar is still holding out fairly well. Mofu has a march here that's half dead, that's really not going to do much. Super Beta, shout out to Beta in here as well, trying to fight in the open field, but he really needs to get into the building, but the building falls in favor of blue team, and in 19 seconds, the middle will open up, and there is very little to no red presence in here. Uh-oh. This is not the end of the world, ladies and gentlemen. As we've mentioned more than once in many casts, this is only the first arc. over a match, there could be up to 5 arcs popping up if those arcs are quickly picked up and delivered. Last match we casted, we had only 2 arcs pop up, and with every arc, the points per minute, the points you get as a reward from returning the arc increase. For every arc, it's another 500 points. So for Lulumogu to take away this arc that is worth 3,000 points is a great achievement, but if the folks of 1AVG pick up the next one, they'll have a 500 point lead in terms of the Arc of Osiris gameplay. So far, it looks like 1AVG are sending solo marches, solo rallies towards buildings that are being very well protected in the open field. Looks like 1AVG are trying to get back their Desert Altar. This is not necessarily the worst play. However, these open field marches have very little DPS in them, a lot of tanks in them, and there's a lot of blue presence in here as well, which means even if by some miracle this might go down a little bit, there's so many marches to refill this building that these marches are really getting chunked down instead of waiting for a rally to come in and support the rally on the open field. So far, it looks like 1AVG are on the back foot and P245 are in the, not only in the 500 point lead, but holding the driver's wheel very, very much. They are in the driver's seat, they're holding onto the wheel, and now the question is whether 1AVG can stop this. 1AVG also losing their outposts. This is a little bit of a nuisance play that a lot of folks play, but it looks like P245 are coming in with so much firepower. So much firepower that it's weird. When you get hit by a truck, the thing that hurts more is not what happens after you get hit, it's that first impact. That first impact determines everything, and trust me when I tell you, I've been hit by a train, a JWM train back in Kingdom 58, and P245 are right now our big boy train, and 1AVG just got smacked. The real question is, how will they come back out of this? With an open field presence almost everywhere by the folks in blue, this is going to be an uphill battle for 1AVG, who have a lot of open field presence who are not really doing anything. We have a bunch of marches in here standing by, waiting for what? You guys can help open field, get into this open field, help the Sky Altar go down. Legend Rhony, who picked up the Desert Altar, seems confident enough that this will stay here for a little while. Dragothien's Attila is marching towards the Shrine of War, trying to take the enemy Shrine of War back. Open field presence everywhere to chunk down that Attila and slow it down slowly and steadily. It did manage to run away. Is it this? Where is it? Hello? Where's the rally? It should be this one. The rally did manage to sneak out, and it will make its way to the Shrine of War, but with all this open field presence by Max, he should not have a hard time getting this done. Great work by 1AVG picking up their Shrine of War back. This will give them another 5% attack and defense and take those away from their opposition. It's a great way to stabilize back. At this point, the real question is, can we stabilize and can we win? 1AVG's rally is doing massive work to the Desert Altar, but the problem is this open field presence is going to really harm this rally. What 1AVG need right now is a lot of open field swarm presence around these buildings to help tons of blue buildings blinking like crazy. 1AVG right now rallying the Sky Altar with a little to no success, really. Legend Rhony swarming the heck out of this rally. It looks like it will not take the building back. Desert Altar on the other side on the top being rallied by 1AVG, and also too much open field presence by P245. Nothing getting done. What do you know? 1AVG managed to take back their Desert Altar. Very interesting. I wonder how this happened considering all the open field presence. It looks like the folks in the open field did not feel like refilling the building. Big mistake, as now the points are going away, and this is how 1AVG can get back into this. They've managed to drop down P245 back to 590, which is the half point mark. This is where now, in 3 minutes, give or take, the folks of Red Team will get 590 points per minute and start evening out the game. From here on out, the real question is, what is the next move for 1AVG? Are they going to aggress? What are they looking for? What are they trying to do? Sleepy Coca got caught trying to pick up an outpost being a nuisance, and these infantries in here are gonna take you out, and Mad Phantom and Co are coming in to clean up this very annoying march on their back end. We've had to deal with that quite a bit in the JWM2 match I played earlier today. Chat, I'm seeing that you guys are saying the video froze. Is this a thing? Let me know if there are any issues. And if the sound is also too loud or too low, anything, please let me know. Legends Rhony, this rally right here is donezo. Sleepy Yoki is kind of making a small mistake by helping the rally die faster. That's an Attila Takeda. That is an Attila Takeda that in 58 seconds will re-rally instantly. You should allow these kinds of rallies to last as long as humanly possible so they don't re-rally again and again. The Desert Altar has massive open field presence by P245. They really don't want to lose this building. It's going to take a couple more minutes for the folks of 1AVG to finally stabilize their points per minute game. And from there, they are 5,000 points behind. 5,000 points is not a big deal considering 38 minutes remain and a bunch of arcs still to come. It looks like the folks of P245 just took the arc and that's it. They are confident that they can take the next one as well. And it looks like they will. 5 minutes into the arc, only blue presence here. Lulu Mogu kind of wasting a little bit of marches that could be doing other things. There's plenty of time to leave and come back in between arcs. And it looks like 1AVG are trying to take an opportunity to pick up this middle and put a presence very early on in there. Will blue team reply by going to the center, or will they reply with rallies into buildings? If you guys are enjoying the content, you guys enjoy the cast, you have any comments, questions, suggestions, you're watching the VOD, you're always welcome to leave them in the comments or in the chat. I still do my best to try to read while commentating. And of course, if you haven't yet, drop a like on the stream. And 57% of you are not subscribed. What? Why? Hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell so you get a notification when we go live next week for more casts or for videos every single day. With all that being said, Desert Altar being rallied, Levi's rally is getting pounded. But what I'm not seeing are Ethelfleds anywhere nearby, and it's not debuffing the building, the rally enough. People are coming into the building, which is nice, but this rally is insanely strong. And it can honestly take out all of these folks and still take out the building while we're at it, because Attila Takeda is broken. With Justice coming in to reinforce the open field presence in the Desert Altar, man, there is a good chance that P245 might have slipped in here and allowed an opening for 1AVG to take this Desert Altar back. Marches are coming in to reinforce the Desert Altar, which is a fantastic play, but with open field presence now and swarms available for the folks of 1AVG, I'm a little bit baffled by the fact that you see archers hitting cavalry, but at the same time, what they're doing here is they're using Tamaris's skill damage taken Poison of Madness to try to beat down this rally, but Attila Takeda don't care about poison. They don't care about nothing. They just smash, and you can see the results. Justice taking his eye off the ball, going for the open field fights instead of for the Desert Altar. He must go for the Desert Altar. This is your only hope. You have to hit this building, debuff it with your Ethelfled, get this rally in there, go in there, and then from there on out, you stop P245 for at least 3 minutes from gaining points. But they are losing focus. 1AVG losing focus on what matters. This allowed Foley Field to get in here, and it's allowing Javi to refill his marches in the open field. This might have been the biggest mistake in here so far. You want to chunk down the building as quickly as humanly possible. Forget about the open field, because if the building lasts for as long as it's been lasting, what'll happen is exactly what happened. More presence will show up, and from there, it'll be impossible to take the building. Levi really had a good opportunity to take this Desert Altar away, but a small mistake by Justice is the reason why this didn't happen. With more rallies happening everywhere, the Sky Altar rally looks like it's not going to be very, very efficient. P245 really looking to help this friend right here get his Attila Takeda back so he can re-rally. While that's going on, P245's Legend Rhony is fighting hard the Desert Altar, and for the first time in a long time, I am seeing a rally hitting a lot of open field presence and just letting it hit. This is perfect. You definitely want to keep refilling this building a little bit because it's taking more damage than the rally is. But right now, Legend Rhony is going to be stuck hitting this Desert Altar for a very long while, so long as 1AVG don't slip up. They decide to counter rally the rally instead, a move that I personally very much dislike. The reason I dislike to counter rally is primarily because when you have the ability to send all of the marches, all of these marches onto the field instead of in a rally, all of these marches will have their own commanders, which can be very useful for you to do more damage to the actual rally than just damage. What I mean by that is, as an example, there might be an Ethelfled in this rally that would have been much more efficient as an open field debuffer to the rally itself. So counter rallying a rally essentially means you are locking in a lot of marches that could be used for debuffing and causing individual pain to rallies, and that's the best thing to do. Sorry about that. My bad. I misclicked something, which I shouldn't have. With that being said, I'm seeing you guys are going a little bit on the hate side. If you guys please could keep the chat a little bit civil. There's no need to go at each other. This is all fun and competition it really is. At this point, take a look at the change right here. The rally is fairly weak. The building will most likely be able to hold so long as there is 1 or 2 more reinforcements in there. By disbanding this rally and going in here, you can lock in Legend Rhony in here for a good few minutes. Instead, the choice is to keep rallying. I believe this is Dragothien rallying? No, Dragothien is standing right next to it, chilling with his Attila Takeda. Let the rally keep going. You do not want Legend Rhony to take. You do not want Legend Rhony in there. Oh my goodness. And P245. We missed it all together, but it looks like P245. They emptied the center. They emptied the center. My goodness gracious. With a skill, alliance skill happening in here, we completely missed the center, which I was blasting about buildings and didn't even realize Lulu Mogu is still in here, carrying this arc once more. Big boy trouble for 1AVG. This arc is worth 3,500 points. The next one is 4,000 points. If P245 decides to deliver this arc, there might be more arcs coming out still in another opportunity for 1AVG to get out of this. But it's going to be a very big uphill battle. I see Wolfie saying it's GG. I don't think it's GG just yet, but 1AVG really have to change something in order to win this. As of right now, what they're doing is just not enough, and it's this exact problem. You want to swarm the building. Forget about the open field presence. They will go down one by one once you have the building. In Ark of Osiris, there are 2 concepts in terms of points. 1, gaining points. 2, stopping your opposition from gaining points. The way you do that is by taking their buildings. At this point, if you take a look right here, this building is taking for points for the folks in P245. If the building goes down, which it did, what a fantastic play by 1AVG. Once the building goes down, even if P245 take it back right now, they're gonna have to wait 3 long minutes to get their points per minute back up. So that's 450 points less gain for them. And take a look at this. The points per minute game turned in favor of the red team by 120 points. Don't you call this a game just yet. There are 31 long minutes remaining, and if P245 managed to hold, if 1AVG managed to hold on to 120 point per minute lead for the next 30 minutes, 3,600 points go in, and that arc is insignificant. And so slowly and steadily, these guys can make their way back up. Provisions can take care of the first arc, and the the points per minute can take care of the second arc. And from there, if 1AVG managed to pick up an arc, they can turn this game on its head. The 1AVG Desert Altar has huge open field presence in it. They're trying to clear out the area first before going for the building. This is a points gaining building for 1AVG. 1AVG, on the other hand, on the Sky Altar, the rally is fairly unsuccessful. Baba is just helping out Kivar to get his Attila back, which is, thank you, I guess. At this point, there is no point in swarming this. Unless you are, of course, looking to get hit once more very quickly. Look at the sneaky shot right here. Dragothien going for the outpost, picking up an outpost. Dragothien is known to be a nuisance when it comes to these things. And he could very easily take this arc out of the hands of P245 and sneak it into the outpost. Liza cannot be focusing on Dragothien right now. She's doing, that's the correct play. Take the outpost back. But the outpost has someone in it. Did Dragothien just sneak an arc? I cannot believe what I'm watching. Did Dragothien just sneak an arc? Someone tell me Dragothien is not getting this. Oh my, he is. He is. He just backstabbed an arc. Oh! Wait, why you left? Why you left? Making the biggest play on earth to doing that. Oh, he cannot. He can't enter, right? Because he's in the building, he cannot enter the building and he has to leave. That's why. Oh no, someone had to come in there with him. He cannot deliver the arc when he's in the building. Oh, that was such a crazy play. Yeah, I figured it out now. I'm like, it took me a second because I thought, I was like, what happened? What happened? He needs to get out to put that in. I understand. I get it, but... Timeout. Timeout. That's a heavy breathe. Let's go look at the desert altar real quick. Let me breathe. Because I freaked out. I was like, listen, that would have been insane. That would have been insane. Yeah, I understand, chat. You can't have two marches. I understand. I apologize. I got too crazy about it. And you're right. He cannot get in. I understand. I understand why he left. The reason he left is because he had a march inside the building, and he cannot bring that second march with the arc into the building because there's already one in there. You can only have one march per building, so he had no choice but to leave the building. The problem here is when he did that, someone who was hitting that could have been a clutch play. That could have been an insane play. What's up, Death Squad? How's it going, man? Oh my goodness, I need to... I did. I freaked out. It's the second time today. What the hell is going on? Sky Altar being massacred by 1AVG. So many open field troops in here doing nothing. Guys, look at... You even have alliance skills. Go, 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 go. Hit the building. Forget about Baba coming in. You need to get this building out of their hands as quickly as possible. Baba's bringing in a Wu Zetian. If that Wu Zetian gets in, it's going to be a commander change and even harder work for the folks of 1AVG who once more had the opportunity to swarm the hell out of the building. But instead of swarming, they went for the open field fights. And I don't see a change in commander yet. This could be a display bug. In the JWM2 match, turns out that you guys saw a Scipio as the commander who was holding onto the Sky Altar. Well, to let you guys know, it was a display bug. As we can see right now, we still see an Yulji Mondok. I'm pretty confident that Wu Zetian is on the wall right now, but because of this display bug, which is fairly annoying, it looks like there is still an Yulji, but I'm fairly confident Wu Zetian is in there already. It's also why this is taking much less damage. That Wu Zetian, that happened in our match, and we confirmed it with the reports that it indeed was a display bug. So there she is. It finally updated. She was in there this whole time, and it looks like this building is going to go down. The Wu Zetian is taking massive damage. The folks in the open field are more for the for taking out open field presence by Baba than actually going for the building. My personal opinion is that this is a huge mistake, but again, everybody plays a little bit differently. And so far, so good. Buildings blinking everywhere. Desert Altar. Right now, big problems for 1AVG. They're 150 points behind, and they really need to pick up this building. In 2 minutes, they're going to get there, and it's going to even out. And so, with all that being said, let's go take a peek at the top Desert Altar, which is probably full of open field presence by the folks in blue. Javi has been doing a really good job at staying around here and doing everything he can. Mad Phantom's March is getting destroyed right here by a few archers, and the Shrine of Life is being hit hard by 1AVG, but it looks like that'll also hold Let's go take a peek real quick at what is going on in the chat. What if there's anything in here potentially that is worth picking up? Let's see. Have a drink. Oh yeah, I need to drink quite a bit. Not gonna lie. 3-4-1-1 in league. They won their match, or wait, 3-4-1 are in the other realm? Are in the other realm? Or am I crazy? Sky Altar back to life. Chillin', open field presence pretty much being taken out. Both Shrines of War is being rallied right now. 1AVG about to lose this Shrine of War if they don't do something about this and something fast. There's a counter rally by Freeze, but truthfully, that counter rally could have been doing so much more, including holding onto this building a little bit further. So far, so good. The hold on the building is gonna stay. So perfect stuff right there. So far, so good. But Super Beta's rally is just being massacred because there's tons of open field and no support to this rally. An alliance skill was used on the Desert Altar for the next 5 minutes. This Desert Altar is going to suffer. It increases the attack of alliance troops when attacking specific structure for 80% in this next rally. 80% damage. Yay! Oy vey, this is not going to be a fun one to watch for 1AVG. Buildings blinking anywhere, everywhere and anywhere. 3 minutes and 30 seconds until the next arc pops up. P245 gave another shot to 1AVG to pick up an Arc of Osiris. Remember, we still have provisioners out there that can change the name of the match. We all know, I will not say it, but we all know someone lost today to a lot of provisions. And feels bad, man. It really does. Provisions are a huge part of this game. In JWM2, we picked up 7,400 points. That's 2 arcs. The first 2 arcs out the window from provisions alone. And with all that being said, remember, provisions usually come in towards the end. So this 8,000 point difference is crucial. 22 minutes remaining. Things are looking a little rough for 1AVG, but there is still one way out. It's the next Arc of Osiris. But guess what? This is not enough. This is not enough. 1AVG are going to need much more than that in the center to be able to take this arc back. Let's go take a look at the Desert Altar. That's giving 80% more damage to the Takeda. Good luck with that. And so much open field presence. Instead of reinforcing the building, Mofu, Godfather, Oscar Daddy, fighting in the open field rather than holding onto their building. Their building is going to go down 450 points per minute out the window. 450 points total out the window with open field areas in here. Huge mistake. Overall, remember, your goals are either to take a building or to protect the building. Fighting in the open field is absolutely unnecessary. The number one thing that makes JWM, for example, OV, and all of these big alliances very good at Arc of Osiris is that they focus on the task and don't allow the things around to distract you. Today, we saw UCS doing the same exact thing. They were super focused on their targets. They knew exactly what they're going for. They knew precisely what their goals are, and they went after them. Yes, there is a lot of open field, which could be scary. But again, if you take the building, it's all that matters. It's all that matters. P245 so far, almost 10,000 points above the folks of 1AVG. 1AVG about to make a big push towards the center, but their problem is the open field presence in the Desert Altar are coming in. And listen, this is more than 1AVG have in the center right now, which is a huge problem. Because on top of having to fight all of this, they're about to get chunked down in the back, but 1AVG are sending everything in here. War drums play as the folks of P245 are not playing around. They're going to chunk down these marches. So far, I have not seen that much usage of these skills by 1AVG almost at all in terms of fighting. And again, these folks right here, Rhony using what looks like an alliance skill on his own marches to get there quicker to be part of the fight. A few other folks along the way picked it up. I would assume that he would have maybe made a bundle of everybody before using it, but it looks like everybody made it through. And even though 1AVG are in here, And they have a bunch of people in here. They have not used their skills, and more marches are coming in for blue. Big boy trouble for 1AVG. What they're doing right now is kind of the correct play. They're coming to the side where there's less fights, and what they're gonna try to do is in 6 seconds drop the arc somewhere this way and try to get away from all of this cloud of nonsense. Caps taking his eye off the ball, going for the open field fights instead. The arc pops up, and this is another great example of not keeping your eye on the ball. You want to have a specific target, and you don't want to divert out of it. By going for the open field fight with Cuba, yes, he beat Cuba out a little bit, but he could have, one of these guys could have very easily taken the arc down and only then gone for this open field presence. Someone in blue is taking this arc towards this side, and when that happens, it'll gain them 30 extra seconds worth of this arc being on their side. This is a crucial thing, and you see these? Those are barbarian heaps that marched for like 60 some minutes. So hopefully nobody steals my chests, or else I'll be very upset if there are any chests. But regardless, as it looks like, the folks of blue dropped the Arc of Osiris to their side. That is 30 seconds worth of time for them to get back into this. And they are fighting quite hard. They're cleaning up red one by one down here. For red right now, their only hope is to pick up this arc and start moving it to their side as much as they can, so they gain more time for more folks to make it to the center. That's exactly what the folks in blue did. They moved the arc to their side and delayed red by 30 seconds. If and when red pick up this arc and start moving it closer, it'll give their alliance mates an opportunity to refill the marches and get back in. Look at this. Blue is coming out of everywhere. Have you guys ever seen a roach hole? If you ever seen a roach hole, it's a hole where a ton of roaches live in, and when you spray in there anything, they just go out of the hole and run away. That's I'm not calling P245 roaches, that's not the point, but that's exactly what they're doing with their marches. They're coming out of everywhere and nowhere. They were in here, they came from this way, they came from that way, with tons of marches. I mean, there's people here chilling. People are chilling. I mean, you gotta be kidding me. I'm not calling them roaches before Facebook and Reddit and Discord go all making me come out like I said they're roaches. Yeah, a roach hole. Trust me when I tell you, Kirk, it's not fun to see. We found one at school one day. We took like a hairspray thing, we sprayed into it, and it was just like tons of them come out of there. And that's what they did with these marches. These marches just came out of nowhere. And how can you deal with this? P245 are holding well. It looks like the folks of red in A1AVG did manage to move the arc a bit towards their side, but now they don't have any more presence in here to do anything about it. And blue team can now start marching their arc slowly and steadily back home, and with that, they also march back to their home, all the hopes and dreams of 1AVG of winning this match. To make matters worse for 1AVG, they're losing the points per minute game by about 180 points. Tough stuff going on right here for 1AVG. We do not want to call it just yet, but this match is looking very, very, very much one-sided. I do not believe we saw the folks of 1AVG holding onto the steering wheel at any point in this match whatsoever. With all that being said, wow, scandalous. GG called Rhony Baba Roaches. See, that's going to be all over Facebook. That's going to be all over Twitter. That's going to be all over everywhere, and the drama will ensue. Trust, it's coming. I know the trolls of Rise of Kingdoms by now. I know them. I know them very well. They love me. I'm their #1 target after Rhony, I guess. Well, at least that's a consolation prize, I guess. With all that being said, Desert Altar being fought for, the folks of 1AVG are trying to take it back. However, the building won't render, so we can't do much about that. The building is almost falling, but the rally's being super swarmed all over the place. This is done for, and the building will hold. The Sky Altar on the other side, the blue Sky Altar is going nuts right now, but that also might hold. Well, it is holding so far. There is no rally in here anymore. The rally got taken out. There's plenty of open field presence by Baba and company, and Baba taking out his, where is that Wuzetian? I guess there's a Wuzetian down here, which means now there is another Eulogy holding on once more in here to make matters worse. Outpost of Seth taken out by P245 to the point where they're actually gaining points out of a red outpost, which is frankly fairly outrageous. I've seen outposts being taken out and retaken back, but an outpost on the red side that's taking for points for the blue team, man, come on. Can't be doing that. 560, 560, we're evened up on the points per minute game, but that's with some of the blue buildings have the red buildings sticking for blue, so big boy problem. Another defensive skill finally used on this building right here. We're looking, oh, perfect. Thank you, Lilith. Valiant Stand increased the defense of Alliance troops when garrisoning the specific structure by 50%. And with all that being said, one of the tips that I always talk about is the one you're seeing on the screen right here. You do not want to chunk out a rally. You want to let Glocker take his time and slowly and steadily fade away as time goes by. But it's okay. It's one of these new micro optimizations most people haven't really gotten down just yet. Chat, with all this being said, thank you very much for all 404 of you who are chilling in chat today. Make sure you're dropping a like on the stream if you're enjoying the content. If you're not subscribed, you know that 57% of you who watch my channel don't subscribe. Why? Hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell so you know when the next time we cast. We do casts every single Osiris League day. We stream twice a week. Saturdays we do bets together. If I go show you guys my bets, you guys are gonna see a little bit of young moolah we picked up out of these bets, so we definitely do that on the Saturdays. Finally, the folks of 1AVG take their they take their outpost back and then dip, which is okay. That outpost will probably get taken back. Old school subscribers are in here as well. Shout out to my old school subscribers. Hell yeah, subscribers old school. Well, old school for you, but for me, it means the world. It helps the channel. It lets me know you guys are enjoying the content, and of course, don't forget to leave me a comment if there's anything you think I should improve, I should change. If you guys are enjoying these new overlays, I really dig these right there that are one is about to pop right there. Next week, we're gonna make them even better. I'm gonna take a couple days off this week from work and improve our casting setup. So next time, you guys will have a completely different experience that you've never experienced before. With all this being said, it looks like with the arc being delivered, and we're gonna watch it happen as Liza is taking her sweet time to get there. The last nail on the coffin is coming down very quickly. The hammer in the hand. I had a hammer here. Okay, whatever. It's in the toolbox. It is what it is. The hammer in hand. It is about to come down, and when it comes down, if you're here, if you have headphones, heads up. That might might be a little loud, and that was the last nail in the coffin right there. 35,000 points to 22,000 points, 12 minutes remaining in the match. I believe it is time to call a GG. We're still gonna watch this. There's still plenty to learn. It's not time for you to leave. I see some of you are leaving. It's not the time to leave, the other way around. It's the time to see things differently. We're gonna talk about things that are more micro optimizations, usage of skills, and it's time for you guys to ask questions. This is the time if you have any comments, questions, anything, any doubts in your strategy. I am checking chat more than game, and I'll give you guys some tips and advice of things to do that will improve your arc gameplay overall. So if you're leaving because the match is over, you shouldn't, because we got a couple of tips here for you guys, including the first one being about provision. Most folks don't give provisioning enough time. Provisioning doesn't require too much. I am in JWM. I almost said something I shouldn't have. I am in JWM, someone who has a very specific role, who has an important role out of our strategy. I'm also someone who has the correct marches and commanders for specific plays we make. And I still provision and gain 1,128 points. The way you do that is in two different ways. Well, in two different things that you do. The first one is very simple. The first one is all about making sure you send a troop, one set of troops, one guy, one march, with as many tier 4s or tier 5 ballistas as you have, sieges. Don't send a recommended number, send a full march. And you don't want to send it, let's say you're sitting in home base. You don't want to send it here. You don't want to send it to the door. You want to try to get as far out as you can safely. And out here down below the top area of the obelisks, you'll see a very abundant amount of caravans, as you can see. This is where you need to send your full march. You need to go grab one of these, and then you need to keep your eye on that march. What I do to not miss it is I send all my fighters out first, and I send my gatherer last. So it's the top march in this side marches thing that you have. When the march finishes the tile right here, it's going to start marching home. Don't let it go home. Go to the next tile, and 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 to the next tile. Just remember, it needs to go home at the end of the fight, or else no points. One of your marches doing that will get you a stupendous amount of caravanning. This is not something that we do. This is not something that is only us. Most people who gather for events, for example, if you're doing Mightiest Governor, I can tell you that there are a few folks that I know who go very far away on the map from their city, and for 3 days before the gathering day of Mightiest Governor, they go out and gather gem nodes just like this. They gather gem node after gem node after gem node. They load up the gems, and on the day of gathering, they bring that march back, and boom, 1,000,000 points, just like that. So that's a fantastic farming tip for you guys. The second thing is, we're gonna take a look at this really quickly and see if we can find someone. It's this right here. There's absolutely no reason for Walsey to stand on the open field. If you have marches standing on the open field, you are slipping. Try to put your marches into caravans if possible. You can see Lulu Mogu, for example, is a mid player. These marches might get taken out in the middle, but before they do, they'll be taking home some sweet, sweet points along the way. Remember, your marches need to get home. Your marches need to get home for you to gain those points. So Lulu Mogu is doing a good job in here, but unless these marches die off or he sends them home, those are not going to give you points. Don't underestimate the caravan farmers. I definitely agree. Do I use Gaius for extra march speed? David, when you are fighting in Arc, keeping an eye on gatherers is a pain in the butt. That march speed is fantastic when you're going out, but it can be very painful if you don't notice what's going on with your march and it marched way, way, way far back home. And so I prefer not to use, I'm not gonna go into too much detail on which marches I use, but I would not prioritize. Think of Arc as a different game mode. Don't think of it as the regular Arc, the regular Rise of Kingdoms. To have march speed is fantastic on the open field when you're not in Ark of Osiris, but the trade-off is if you march much faster home, then you might miss altogether. You might miss altogether the march making its way back home, and if it makes its way back home, you're wasting a lot of time going in and out of the start zone. A final tip for you guys about provisioning. As I mentioned, you have to get back home to gain the points. The way I know to get home every single time is by when there are 10 minutes remaining on the match, I take my provisioning march, I get it out of the caravan, and then I stop it right out here. When I tell it to go back home, it'll tell me what's its march time. And that's how I know how much time I have left before I need to go home. I slowly and steadily make my way towards where I am through the nodes. And when I see that I have about a minute and a half left to march, and that's what I need, I leave myself a minute and a half worth of delta just in case. So if my march is 4 minutes, at 5 minutes and 30, I'm out and I go back home and I know I'm guaranteed those points. So those are a couple of tips for you guys about caravanning and provisioning, since that is one of the most crucial things. Do not underestimate caravan farmers, like Careless Whisper said. In the JWM2 match, we saw a couple of folks trying to hit gatherers in the back side, which is not the biggest of deals if you understand the mechanics. If your march dies while in the caravan or in a node, by the way, same goes for resources, it all goes to the garbage. But if you get out of the node and then you get killed, you march home with the caravans. So if someone comes and hits you, you will most likely get screwed. Those are all sieges and you're getting hit by something strong. But as long as you die outside of the building and outside of the caravan and not in it, you'll still get all the points you had. Keep in mind on that Attila damage, that Attila Takeda damage is insane, that there was a skill in here up until a couple minutes ago that gave 80% plus attack C. So keep that in mind, that for a little bit there was 80% more. It still is a crazy amount of damage, but now it's a bit less than it was. One of the things that we see as a kind of a nuisance play, and Dragothien's really doing it just for the S's and G's, I think, at this point, are obelisk rallies. Obelisk rallies are very underrated, chat. They're very underrated, and the use of them is fairly significant if you know what to do with them. Went to the supermarket to buy some milk jugs, all out. Careless Whisper. Things are nuts in the world, man. Things are really nuts. Thanks for all this old commentary on 307. Phantom, is that you? I don't know if that's you or not. But I can there are so many things in here that we can talk about after the match that you guys can really improve you guys have such little bit of micro optimizations you needed. Very little micro optimizations. Your strategy is very sound. All that's missing is that little bit of extra optimization. Justice was a great Justice was a great example when we saw the desert altar being hit and he prioritized hitting the open field instead of hitting the building, which is why you guys didn't take the building. I think that if you guys fix a little bit of your micro optimization little thingies, it should be good to go. Show the middle. I don't think there's anything going on in the middle. These guys might be fighting, but it really doesn't matter. You guys like to see the fights? We can watch the fights. Thanks for the tips for the event. No problem, Rasta. No problem. 3 minutes remaining in the match. 41,000 versus 28,000. This match was donezo from almost the beginning, really. Not really the beginning. There was a point where 1AVG had the potential to upset this match and turn the tides of this match. But I think that the problem with 1AVG is that they are less micro-optimized than P245, and P245 definitely have a little bit of extra commanders available. It doesn't, and really, it feels like for P245 things are a lot more dialed in. I can tell you as an example that Dragothien is in this lineup and he wasn't previously. With Dragothien being in this lineup, it means that someone else was taken out. And don't get me wrong, Dragothien is one of the savviest players in the game. However, the team chemistry is very important in Ark of Osiris. And to substitute someone out for potential more power is a very, very big mistake. It's not necessarily what happened here, but we don't know how many people changed in that 1AVG lineup. And so the team chemistry and the knowing what everybody's doing and all that comes with time playing together. And so I think that 1AVG, the biggest issue they have is the team hasn't played together enough. This is not the end for them. They have 1 full week worth of practice sessions to really dial in their stuff. And honestly, biggest tip I have for you guys is utilize multiple alliances and do as many practice runs as you can. And let me tell you something. A practice run doesn't have to be 30 versus 30. It costs 1,000 gems for you to practice. Take the 5 people, take 2 people on the other side, 2 people trying to take the building out against the 5, and go. Do again the same drill again and again and again. Practice mode is actually insane. If you keep an eye on the practice mode and use it correctly, you can pretty much, and you have enough alliances under your control, you can do 2, 3, 4 sessions of practice every day. 1 with the full team, 1 with one side, 1 with the other side, 1 with a few individuals. There is so much goodness in those practice modes that those who are looking to be the top tier are really going to need to utilize them quite a bit, or else it's not going to work. Gekko, what if we left caravans in the middle of fully gathered? Do we get points the amount we gathered, or do we get points if we complete? You can leave bulls. You can leave the caravan at any point, just like a resource node. When you leave it, you get what you have. I farmed 1 out of 100. You get 10 points. Yes, you get 10 points from 10 gatherers, but in your individual points, you get 30. So keep that in mind. I got 3,300 points in my arc just from provisioning. Watching this towards the end, keeping an eye on chat if any of you have any questions. Can you share more details about your thoughts about provisions? My team wants to have 1 or 2 dedicated gatherers as in all 5 marches doing it. Is it worth it, or are they better off on the battlefield present? Aquarian, each team has to figure out what works better for them. Dedicating individuals to fully be gatherers might work out for one alliance and more than another. That's not a question I can really answer, but give me a second. Let's wrap this up and I'll finish my thought in there and give you a little bit of direction about that. GGs, let's get some GGs in the chats, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get some GGs in the chat for these teams. And if you're a member in the channel, some of you are, we got the GG emote right there. Let's get those GGs up in the air for both teams. Very well played. 1AVG taking the most valuable player. And take a peek at what happened here. P245 healing quite drastically against the folks of 1AVG. Also, nasty amounts of kills. Damage all over the place. Oy vey, this is nuts. Really, the biggest thing that killed 1AVG were these arcs right here. And the provisioning was fairly good by P245. P245 are getting it in terms of provision. 7,400 points is definitely a good point to be at. Just for the record, I've seen a couple of times people getting 10K, but that of course was in special circumstances. So don't take that as a given. So many GGs in the chat. I love seeing your spirit chat. That's how it works. That's how it should be. GGs to both teams. 1AVG played really, really, really well. And so did P245, but P245 are definitely better dialed in and they know exactly what they're doing. I really enjoyed casting this match. Oh, get up. No, you. All right, listen, before we wrap up, and I haven't finished that train of thought on the gatherers. Give me just a second. I need to do this and that, and then so our chat is safe. And let's go take a look. Did we get any chests? If someone yoinked it, I'll be fairly upset, but there's absolutely no way for me to know if someone yoinked it. There's absolutely no way for me to know if anyone yoinked this or not. I hope they didn't. I hope they're not. They did. Ooh. Ugh. We need Dark Lord's blessings, chat. All right, you go home. What we got here? Real quick chat, and I'm back with you guys. Give me just a second. Just a second. We interrupt this program for... you didn't have anything, but you have a march. Can we go to the next one? Is there something open somewhere in here? These 3 were taken out. Those 3 were taken out. What about you? Hello? Ah. You're gonna take a while. Whew. All right. And the rest of you are going home, I guess. You're gathering this. Cool. And cool. All right. We're back in action. Give you those Delane. I'll give you all of my Delane. All of them for 3 Dark Lord blessings. For the love of everything. I am so sick and tired. I'm so sick and tired of this. I'm so sick and tired. Anyway, is Marauders at reset? Wait, hold on. Before I go into that, back into provisioning. Each team has to figure out what works better for them. Not every team has the same type of composition of players. And you know, there could be a situation where you say, we agree to have 2 full-time gatherers so long as while they're gathering, they're Overwatch, looking at the whole map and kind of directing things. That could be a possibility. I know of some alliances who dedicate individuals that send 1 march, dedicate individuals that send 2 marches. They have specific people for specific tasks. And so I cannot give you an answer whether it's better for you or worse to have dedicated provisioners, but you should definitely come up with a plan that works the best for you. I wouldn't say that Baba should go provisioning per se, because he has a very big set of commanders available for an open field fight and for holding buildings. But someone who is a little bit less in the legendaries department, like myself, I have a good amount of legendary commanders, but I don't necessarily have all full marches, all commanders, all nastiness. So for me, 1 march to go gather is okay, considering I can fill 4 good marches worth of fighting. Did Rhony's Alliance win? They did. I give you a full pattern and 3. Deathstroke. I hate you. If you have a full pattern, I really do hate you. But not really, but really. What's my Delane's at? What's my Delane's at? 18. You want these? Who won? P245 won. And we lost some Oryx along the way. RIP. I see you 6 stars RAM. I did. I've used them on the in Ark of Osiris too today. A 5-4-2-3 Ramses. A 5-4-2-3 Ramses. And yeah, if I can get him to 5-5-2-3, it'd be awesome. But on the one hand, I really want to spin wheels and not waste Legendary Commander Sculptures on this. But on the other hand, with the things that I saw in Ark of Osiris today, I might have to expertise this dude and forget about the wheels. When should the UCS pay out? Asgard, there is a weird thing with the Oryx. I'm sure that by tomorrow, Lilith will already put out a message that they're working on it or have like a server maintenance or something like that, and they'll fix the issue. Trust me, it'll be in your account before the next time you need to bet. What's my first impression on Ramses? He's very interesting. Very, very interesting. He has some uses that I cannot discuss just yet, but he might be a very, very, very interesting commander to change a little bit of the meta, especially in Ark of Osiris as well as in KVK. More to come. When we max him, we'll do a full guide on him and everything, and I'll show you guys how I use him as well. That's going to take a little bit. There are a few trade secrets, we'll call them, for Osiris League, which allowed us to claim victory against 96RZ, who, by the way, a few of them reached out. Big shout out to 96RZ. It was an awesome fight. And yeah, it's how we're able to do this. With that being said, Osiris League for today is done, and so is the cast. Thank you guys very much for chilling with me today. A lot of you, these were some of the biggest streams I've done in a while. I appreciate all your support. Drop a like before you leave if you enjoyed the content. It helps the channel. Drop a subscription as well. 57% of you are not subscribed. What's wrong? Why? Anyway, I'm out of here. Thank you guys very, very much for being here with me. Next Sunday, we'll cast as many arcs as humanly possible once more. And once we hit the knockoff stage, playoffs right here, we will be casting on the official Rise of Kingdoms channel. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. The official Rise of Kingdoms channel is going to be back better than ever. We're working on some improvements. We're working on some changes to how Osiris League worked, the cast worked last time. And some of these things you guys already saw, but there are a few other things that I have in the sleeve for you guys. So until the next time, thank you very much for being awesome. Thank you for all the positive feedback and criticism as well. I appreciate every single one of you. When are the spring bundles coming out? Probably, if spring, did it pop up in here? No, so I guess it's next week, the spring event. The spring bundles usually happen on the 3rd day of the seasonal event, so that's when it'll be. Anyway, I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. I appreciate every single one of you who dropped a like, subscribed, commented in the channel, all that good stuff. You guys are the best. And I'll see. Can you show me the scoreboard of JWM versus 96RZ? Scoreboard? In what sense? RIP. Oh, we had one of these in here, so we only need 2 more in the dream. I can show you this. If that's what you want to see. Chat, I'll see. Are Marauders at reset? No, Max. First, Eve of the Crusade will have its own countdown. This is for choosing your teams. This will be when the teams, the kingdoms will be revealed, and then there will be a period to choose teams, and then from there comes Eve of the Crusade. There are plenty of videos about Light and Darkness, and in the description down below you'll find a a playlist for it with all the videos about Light and Darkness. Go check it out. It'll answer a lot of your questions. Thank you very much for the kind words, Redwood Original. And Ice too. I appreciate you guys very, very much. And I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. Take care and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And yeah. Peace.